You literally examined person by person, starting with Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
America's a downright mean country. For the first time in my life, I'm proud of my country. Tell us about Michelle Obama, what you found.
In Chapter 2 of the book, I call her the first crony. And she really is. I mean, she was born and bred into the daily political machine. She and Barack Obama have been joined at the hip in exploiting their position as power brokers in Chicago and then posing as the champions of the little people. She worked for one of the most prestigious law firms in Chicago, and she's hooked up with a number of Chicago cronies who are now running the government and running our economy into the ground. I think her role, particularly in health care, and you highlighted last week the patient dumping scheme at the University of Chicago Medical Center, is very telling. And there's also the bullying of the Chicago way. And I reported recently about her probable role in the ejection of the Inspector General of the AmeriCorps program.
You also went into great detail, and this was a story that was covered, but on a very small level. You know, her salary in 2004, when he became a senator, was $122,000 a year. All of a sudden, a miraculous jump to $317,000 a year. But more importantly, I want to go back to this patient dumping scheme. I want you to explain to our audience, because she's at the Chicago Medical Center, University of Chicago Medical Center, and this was a well-orchestrated political campaign hiring David Axelrod, other cronies and friends of theirs, where the very people that now claim they want to help the poor and the indigent and the disabled and help everybody get health care were involved in a scheme to push them away from her hospital. Explain that.
That's exactly right. And I think people really need to look at this episode closely. It's why I spent so much time on the book in it, because what they did in Chicago is what they'll deliver to the rest of the country. And as I said, you know, the Obamas and the administration have posed as the champions of minorities and poor people, and yet, under the guise of helping them, they booted them out of the University of Chicago emergency room, hired David Axelrod, here he profits from a contract, to sell this to minorities and try and convince them that this bad medicine is good for them. And now Susan Scher, who is also a part of the University of Chicago conglomerate and the sorority and fraternity that were architects of this, is now installed at the East Wing under Michelle Obama to help her sell the Obamacare plan.